So we continue on with our reading of Mark. This is chapter 2 and up to verse 13 here. Kai exalthen Palin, and he went out Palin again, paratan thalasan, beside the sea. Kai pas ho-oklos, and all the crowd, erketo, this is imperfect from erkamai, were coming to him. Kai edidasken autus, imperfect again from didasco, so again he began to teach them. Often the imperfect you translate as he began to do something. Kai para agon, a fairly vague word, it's just para plus agon, it's going along a little way, so walking along. Aden, from aorist from horao, he saw Lewin. This is Levi. Now this name only appears here and in Luke. In the parallel in Matthew's Gospel, these guys called Matthew. The list of the 12 disciples has Matthew and not Levi, but there is mention of a James who was the son of Alphaeus that we're getting to here. So by the time of Mark's writing, there's probably some confusion as to exactly who the 12 initial disciples were, and some of them, in fact many of them, played little part in the role of the early church, and so there's often some confusion of names here. So going along, he saw Levi, ton, we have to understand, huion, the son of Alphaeus, but that's standard. Kathamenon, participle from kathamai, sitting. Epi, at, to, telonion. Now the telonion is like a custom office or tax office. These were people who didn't actually have the formal contracts, the Roman contracts for collecting taxes, but they were employed by those who did, who were generally foreigners, but they employed locals to collect the taxes. And so they would make money by, of course, taxing more than they needed to and then pocketing the rest. So there were many opportunities for excessive greed and unfairness, and as such they were disliked very much by the locals. Anyway, so Levi is at the customs office, and he says to him, historic present, akoluthe, this is contracted akoluthe. It's akolutheo is the verb, and it takes a dative. So follow me, imperative. Kai anastas from anistemi, and getting up, akolutheisen, he followed him. So that's just that same verb, and this is just the standard aorist form. And ginetai, it happened that, or it came to pass. Now Mark is very vague in places, and here we get auton and autu. This auton refers to Jesus, this one must refer to Levi. So it came to pass katakasthai. The usual form is anakaisthai, to recline, and in fact down here we're going to get sun ana, this is from sun anakamai, to recline together with someone. But here we're using this more classical form, katakasthai, is the form you'll see in Plato. And again, it may simply be for variation, but Mark is often not terribly fussy about the choice of words he uses. And it came to pass that he, Jesus, was reclining in his house, that is Levi's house, kai polu telonai, and many tax collectors. So we've had telonion up here, and this is from telones. Telones. It's first declension masculine noun, like mathetes. Many tax collectors and sinners were reclining. Now we get the more usual form in the New Testament, anakamai, with a sun, and sun is taking a dative. So we're reclining with Jesus and his disciples. Now, sinners were just a general word used to describe those who didn't live according to the strict rules of the Pharisees, and so anyone who doesn't follow the Pharisaic rule immediately becomes a hamartolos, a sinner. And they were following many, so there were many of them, and they were following, imperfect from anakaluthio, they were following him. And the scribes of the Pharisees, having seen, aorist participle from horao, that he is eating with sinners and tax collectors, elegon, they began to say to his disciples. Now this hoti here is rather difficult. It could just be equivalent to ti. So it might be hoti, whatever thing. So it may be just another way of saying ti, or it may be hoti recitative. I think most scholars take it as just equivalent to ti. So why, esthio, does he eat with tax collectors and sinners? Or if you take this as hoti recitative, this is what they're saying. So they said, does he eat with tax collectors and sinners? And we take hoti as hoti recitative. Don't translate it. And Jesus acusas, having heard, aorist participle, says to them, this is, someone's put this, perhaps this hoti, it's in square brackets. In any case, you don't translate it. Jesus says to them, now the subject is here, hoi iskuontes, literally those who are being strong. And in biblical Greek and elsewhere, the idea of being strong means that you're healthy. So those who are strong, those who are healthy, ou ekusin, do not have kreia, a need, iatru, of a doctor, but now we get this very, very common classical idiom of echo plus a participle, and in particular you get echo kakos, which literally I am badly, so I am doing badly, and so I am ill. So echo kakos often used in the sense of I am ill. So those who are strong, that is those who are healthy, do not have need of a doctor, but those who are sick. I did not come, kalesai aorist infinitive, to call a righteous people, ala hamartolos, but sinners. Now one thing about Mark, he jumps from one point to the other, and often the chronology is, one doesn't know what's happening in between. The chronology of Mark was pretty closely followed by Matthew and Luke. And so this is perhaps just another thing that happened in the life of Jesus, and Mark plonks it in here. And the disciples of John and the Pharisees, and we get a periphrastic past tense here. It's not good Greek, but it's very close to English. They were nestuontes. This is a participle, present participle. It's basically formed from ne, which is an old negative in Greek, and the esthio root, the verb of eating. So out of that they construct this form nestuontes, which means not eating and hence fasting. So the disciples of John and the Pharisees were fasting, so it's a periphrastic form here rather than putting this in the imperfect. And they come and they say to him, historic presence again, dia ti, for what reason, so why, do the disciples of John and the disciples of the Pharisees, why do they nestuusin, why do they fast, but the disciples for you, dative of the possessor, so your disciples, ou nestuusin, do not fast? And Jesus said to them, now we get may, which is introducing a question expecting the answer no. So surely not. So the sons to Nuphonos. This is from numphone. It's third declension. This is the genitive. It means the bridegroom. Now, so the sons of the bridegroom is what in classical Greek would be hoi numphutai. These are the wedding guests, but this is just an idiomatic expression. The sons of the bridegroom simply means the wedding guests. So surely the wedding guests are not able. And then now our infinitives down here, ne stuain, to fast. En hoi, this is a shortened form, it would have been en chrono hoi. So in the time in which, so it's a shortened form, it's a fossilized expression, it's quite common in classical Greek as well, while. So surely the wedding guests, the sons of the bridegroom, are not able to fast while the bridegroom, honumphios, is with them. Hoson, now classical Greek would have used here toson, hoson is the standard expression, but this is biblical Greek and the toson is not used here. So it's literally for such a time as they have the bridegroom with them. Classical would have had toson here and then hoson down here. But here it's just for such a time as they have the bridegroom with them, they are not able, ne stuain, to fast. Hemerai, days eleusontai, that is the future from erchomai in biblical Greek. It's an Ionic form. You'll see it in Ionic Greek, but it's usually in classical Greek you use ami, ibo, for the future. But in biblical Greek you see eleusomai, which is an Ionic form. So the days will come. Hotan is from hoti, hote plus an. Hote plus an. So when the bridegroom, this is from ap-iro. This is the aorist subjunctive, passive subjunctive. So when the bridegroom might be taken from, and they repeat the preposition which is standard, from them. And at that time they will fast in that day. So future there. They will fast in that day. And that's probably a good place to stop.